organic sculptures, mosaic murals, powder-coated aluminum. That is the end of his presentation. And again, this is where we started, and so he kind of took feedback received. And that is the end of that. So really now, kind of leave it up to you guys to talk, deliberate, provide feedback. Like I said, I have the chair's feedback, but I will reserve that until you guys have had a chance to discuss and talk about it, and I will share what the chairman thinks.
Okay, what we'll do now is open the floor for discussion.
Well, we kind of knew from the MGA that he wasn't going to send any new pictures or design or, you know, from the interview.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe there would be some kind of sketch or something. I don't know. I don't think we're set up to get into a design, what is it called? Concept design agreement.
We would basically have to all agree that we were awarding the contract to him, and then, yes, you know, even they can pay their artist stipends, just like we pay, you know, the muralists get 50% up front. But that would have to be, we entered into a full contract with this guy.
Without the actual drawing or any kind of art or anything that you can go by, it seems like that would be kind of a little hard to do.
Yeah.
Making that recommendation.
So maybe we table his proposal.
Okay, so we're eliminating one.
I think
So
we
the
would-
first one is eliminated.
Is everyone in agreement on
Yes,
that?
I agree.
Okay.
All in favor of eliminating the first one,
Aye.
say aye. 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 That's, I feel the exact same way. I felt like we would have liked to have had just a little bit more of an effort. And we did get that.
Right, it could have been a rendering.
Yeah, it would have
A
been,
sketch.
it would have been that
Yeah,
difficult.
good point.
It-
Without it,
Would have given us something to go on.
Simply a different shell.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have been that difficult on a computer right now. So,
Dry.
Honestly, what's making him look inept in that regard is all the information that we've received from another artist
Yeah,
who's seemingly has gone above and beyond with no hassles or no,
that is an excellent
That's
point.
an excellent point.
What we have is two other artists that have risen to the occasion without requiring any additional financial incentives. And one of them is obviously well established and was willing to go above and beyond what we requested. So we've all, with the unanimous vote, have narrowed it down to two.
I mean, I would just off the hand think that he probably has a lot of resources at his disposal at the university. He probably has people he can tell about this project and they could do as their schoolwork or whatever, probably to help him. He probably uses the ceramic arts part of the college to help him make his tiles. So he's probably not one, you know, he probably has more resources to give us more information, as well as to give us a finished product.
You mean Xavier?
Yeah.
Referring to,
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, I think he has a lot of resources to do that, I think, it looks like.
well, it's true. But even in his demeanor, as we've been able to gather just from video, our man at MGA seemed a bit put off at having to do anything extra. And yes, Javier may have more resources, but he also is much more,
Oh, yeah, I think it's a good thing.
much more welcoming.
so now we're down to, the other two, Jenny Hager, Lance Dickery, Xavier Cordada? Is
Cortada.
Cortada?
Well, the Havoc Studios gave a nice breakdown, and they actually have bike racks and benches on
Yeah.
theirs, which I didn't know that was something that didn't, I know we can't change the price, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I saw that they had that when I looked at it the other day, but I just wasn't sure if that was something that, I'm guessing they would make them match. They probably use the same tubing and maybe cut out this or something so that they went together. But I guess, that's. And of course, Mr. Cortada, you know, he completely gave us a better idea of what he thinks would work with the spiral setup and stuff. As well as the colors and.
I do really like the idea of each column pertaining to a title area. I think that is pretty neat.
Yeah, he's got, I couldn't agree with you more, Trey. His approach, his vision, and his obvious experiences, you know,
Yeah.
one of those hit you in the face kind of thing where I almost feel we're fortunate to have this gentleman apply
Sure.
for us to be exposed to who this artist is, this sculptor is.
Well, it is $150,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As on the side. You're right. I think he does have the resources, and obviously, you know, what's the word more responsive?
well,
Responsive.
I kind of liken it to the Ocean Walk muralist, where there was many good, you know, submissions, but when it came to the separation
Calvin.
Yeah.
and
Experience. Yeah, the experience.
yes, and I think we're dealing with a lot of that same, at least I am. I'm looking at a lot of the same, you know, points of that matter with Cortada. You know, not to belittle any of the other submissions we've had. It's just there's separation there, quite obvious.
Yep, we definitely separate. Get back to the thing, do we want the local one or do we want the out of town? I think
You want to weigh in?
No, it's exactly right. I mean, you made the perfect point. We're exactly in that same spot, I feel like.
Yeah, it's,
Because this is beautiful, what having this given us is, but it feels like there's some separation that,
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, the experience of the portfolio, just looking at value, is a big difference.
and then I think of some other things too about the ability for people to sort of interact with and things like longevity. So if you think about, when I look at the two and think about their durability over a long period of time, I mean, it feels like these are more apt to stay
Yeah, I can't help
beautiful
but,
over a long period of time, you know, versus weathering.
I can't help but see the educator in him, as having done that
Yeah.
for most of my adult life. He's a giver. You know, so many artists hide their secrets and keep those to themselves out of fear that someone else might do something better with those secrets than he has. But when you find an artist who is willing to share and give, of all the things that he has painstakingly discovered on his own, that's another part of this whole thing that you mentioned. That I think we should take full advantage of if in fact he's our selection. Community awareness, some enlightenment that he can share with either college or high school or both, up and coming artists who feel that they may have a future at this. It's inspiring.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll weigh in a little bit.
Please.
I agree with everything you said, absolutely everything you said. I think, obviously, I think without him in there, then it would have been Jenny Hager and landscaping. Without him in there, they would have been the person. But he is in there, and he is just the caliber of his presentation, his art is another level. Just like you said, Bob, about the murals. We had artists here, and he was up here. I think to bring this caliber of artist to Jacksonville Beach is phenomenal. And he also, he left it open. So we don't necessarily, he's got
all these options,
but he's given us options. So in other words, we like the shell design. We did like it from the other gentleman, but there's nothing to say that he can't do something similar with his sculpture. This artist can't do something along those lines, or he can't do his sphere with sea life that's indigenous to our area, which he does. So he's open to us saying, well, we don't necessarily have that sea life, but we have this. And so he can surround whatever we pick with that, whether it's the wall or whether it's a sculpture like this, which in that area would be pretty dynamic as well. Also, we're going to have a wall there.
Yeah.
We're going to have the side of the
Eventually, yeah.
parking garage, correct?
A building.
Definitely.
He is the most qualified to potentially incorporate that wall into this whole piece.
Yeah.
Or not. But he could. And he's got the ability to vision that and do it.
Well, I noticed that on.
And what? Go ahead.
I noticed that on the presentation here, and honest to God, this is so tiny, I have to use my
Sorry.
magnifier.
That's my fault.
But
You're all
on
up.
Terry, to your point, on month one, the very first bullet is artist meets with project stakeholders to discuss vision, themes, and objectives. Now that's us.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
before he even, puts a shovel in the ground, so to speak,
He wants to come up here.
Yeah.
And we've
So-
got,
And collaborate.
and his object, to the point, is the point. We say, well, yeah, we're gonna have this nice piece, in the middle, but could you suggest something for the wall that ties into it not? Does what I'm saying, the murals, does those?
Yeah.
He does these columns with it could be the seagulls,
Yeah.
it could be our seagulls, our birds that are indigenous, our dolphins. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Taylor, you were excited about the aluminum,
I love that.
and I love that too.
Yeah.
The powdered,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
powder coated wall, so
Love that.
with him, we have all, and these are cool. The
Oh, yeah,
kind
the
of the
organic
ancient
material.
kind of feel.
Mayan ruins.
Yeah,
I
Mayan
know.
ruins.
That's
Could
the
you
way I
imagine
look at it.
that? And it's in the center of that's an option.
Yeah.
And then we just got. I went over And so, my point is, I just feel like he's my clear choice.
You get like seven, you get almost like seven sculptures.
Yeah.
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 And we can almost pick what goes on there, and I think that these things would be like more durable than to cut out of the
Can
park.
we?
Yeah.
I have a,
Some of these tiles have been in Sunshine Park for like
yes,
25
literally
years.
since the eighties,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I was just in Portugal.
And it
it's
just made
all
them
tile.
new, but, I mean, they just made the background new, but the tiles are the same one.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
tile lasts.
in Portugal, yeah.
Yeah.
My sister went to age.
So if,
Yeah, use your
I was
microphone.
gonna say, if I may,
This
Mr.
jet
Vice
is
Chair,
Interfere with
something
my
that
hearing.
we have brainstormed, and I brainstormed a little bit with the chair, but I forgot he wasn't gonna be here, so that's my fault. If the committee were to feel comfortable moving forward with awarding this to Mr. Cortada, simultaneously, because we are now in fiscal year '24, you could make the same recommendation for staff to move forward with beginning negotiations and conversations with Jenny Hager and Lance Vickery on the Sea Turtle project as well. So in theory, we could award 2 at once right now, if that was the direction you chose to go. And we know we want to keep the Sea Life in the City project to local artists. We're in fiscal year '24. We are ready to start those conversations, but we're not going to engage in conversations with an artist without having the recommendation from the committee first. So just food for thought.
Right, that's right.
Um,
Well, around.
Expound on the Sea Turtle project.
If they could give us some kind of idea what they
I
have in
don't
mind besides.
remember what,
That was the survey we put out. We're gonna do the Sea Life in the City, the branding statues, and the turtle one by a long shot. And so that's gonna be the first sculpture we put somewhere downtown. I think we ended up even deciding it probably down somewhere close to the lifeguard station. But we'll put a colorful, bright, fun sea turtle.
and,
And we don't have to issue a call or anything. We can just commission a piece.
we can just, award that project to whomever.
Yeah.
And would they then be, would it be incumbent upon them to submit like details and, you know,
Yeah, it would, at
We
this
gotta come
point,
up with the size.
for that project,
Yeah.
all we would be doing right now is basically the committee would be recommending that staff approach that artist and start having conversations about the contract for that project, if they're even interested. Because it could be something that we go to them and say, hey,
Yeah.
we would like to do this, and they go, yeah, we don't have time for that. And that, that may be the case.
size, materials,
But is that,
everything.
We just gotta figure that out.
that one is designated for local?
I mean, that was what we all had wanted to do. It doesn't have to be, but that's what was the desire.
Just to,
It would go a long way with,
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause this is the group that does the sculpture.
Yes.
but just to throw a kink in the works, we could also get another sculpture from this artist possibly as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure,
When he gets here, he'd have.
I'm sure, this is not gonna be the last we hear of Mr. Cortado.
I mean, would I like to get Jenny Hager and their group involved in a project for the very reasons we're talking about? They're talented, number one, that's the main reason, that is the reason. But I mean, they are local, and we're trying to involve more local people. But saying that, here we have an artist that's gonna be coming to Jackson Beach that is, I would say world class. And we potentially have an opportunity to do one piece with him while he's here.
Yeah, no,
Can you imagine a rather large turtle ceramic piece that he would do? Can you imagine what that would be like?
I know, but I think we're expressing the idea of multiple turtles, right? Where people can
Yeah.
like
There
adopt
will
the
be
turtles and
multiple.
stuff.
This is just the kickoff, so this is just gonna be the first one we
This would
do.
be just one.
There will be more
Just
turtles, there will be
standalone.
dolphins, there will be
You're right,
sharks.
we could do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I would hate to lose the opportunity
I don't think so, Terry. I don't think we're going to lose this guy. He's, to me, from what he has given us through his information and his very in-depth and meaningful videos, he wants to immerse himself into our community.
But if we gave him 2 projects,
I
you can
don't,
imagine.
well, my
Yeah.
point is, I don't think, if he is in fact, he's awarded this, and he completes it, we're not gonna hear the last of this guy. We can use his skills for another biggie. If in fact that we have that down the line.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
you know, in our diversity of selecting, you know, homegrown talent is important.
Well, if you guys, if, let me just say that if we got, so we go back to Xavier and we say, and we were to say, good news is you got the big, you got it. You won. And another bit of good news is we actually have another project. Would you be interested in that we could award to you along with this one and work on at the same time? I think the enthusiasm from him would be incredible. And professionalism and all the other stuff that goes along with it. Saying that, if you want to stick to awarding it, like you said, to a local artist, then I would say, let's do what you're saying. Go, approach Jenny Hager, and let me just say, make sure they want to do it.
Right.
And
But
of
that would
course-
also allow Mr. Cortana to solely focus on our major sculpture. Because I know as an artist, it's easy to get sidetracked. This guy is super focused. I mean, it's incredible. I would not want to derive any of that or deflect any of that focus away from. It's kind of like being spread too thin, maybe, because I'm so into what you're saying, but we don't have to like pile on right now. We're going to have a relationship with this guy, and the way he's willing to come to the community and immerse himself. We're going to have him as a resource down the road. It's going to be available for us.
Well, and the goal is to make multiple turtles / other sea life. So I mean, I don't think there's harm in talking to him about the fact that that is part of our master plan. And saying, you know, hey, we've got a local artist working on a first one, but there's a strong possibility that we would be interested in having you do one that is either a turtle or another animal.
Did I right in the video? We had some old ceramic. Getting those, are they selling those? What did you have? They took a ceramic.
The sea stars. He had the mollusks and the
Yeah.
sea stars lined up. It looked like
Were those for sale?
maybe some sort of student volunteer who was at the table. I did not
Or did
see.
you give them?
I didn't see any cash being
So-
exchanged. I thought the same thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
was this a fundraiser of some sort? You know, but I didn't see any dinero being exchanged. So maybe it was some people who
I think you're right.
donated
Because they gave
to
them
the
a flag
fund or
and-
something, and they gave them mementos, or I don't know.
So we could actually go down that road with him here, in the fact that any animals that we put on our columns, he could maybe produce smaller ones for us here, and maybe we could give away some and do whatever he did there. We'll find out. I'm sure
Mhm.
straight from him.
Yeah.
But we could also have the ability to reproduce from him those and market those in the city. Because
We could make benches and have them put them on there so they can all go
they,
together.
we could do all kinds of stuff with his work. So I guess
He did say in his video, he was gonna have local people do the landscape,
Yeah.
the concrete, you know,
Yeah,
he
they
was
go-
gonna hire people here to
Yeah.
do like the,
I like that, yeah.
so I thought that was.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I think, quite frankly, I think we could move forward on Mr. Cordova, or Cordova, and then we could move to the next subject of the awarding the sculpture to Jenny Hager if they're interested. Are you guys in agreement with that?
I agree.
Would you like to do that? We'll move forward with the first vote on Xavier Cordova.
All right, so is that a motion to
And
award?
we'll have a motion, all in favor of awarding Mr. Cordata, the sculpture. Say aye, raise your hand, roll call vote, however you want to do it. Unanimous.
And I will let you know that the chairman is in agreement with all of you on that.
Great.
Yep.
I had a funny feeling.
Yeah.
And then now moving on to the second, the awarding without having to go out for an RFP. The second sculpture, or the first of the turtles to Jenny Hager and Lance Vickering at, what's the name?
Have
Havoc. Any discussion? Open to discussion, open floor, or if somebody has a motion to approve and move forward, it's up to you guys.
What's our first step determining what we want in the size and location?
I think this is gonna, from our perspective at least, because this one is a little more ambiguous and it is a little more kind of, we're not really sure what we're gonna do. And so I think at this point, it would just be having those preliminary conversations with them between now and our next meeting. And then maybe bring more specifics and more concrete ideas to you guys in November, and then executing the final contract at that point, once we've actually got a design, once we've got, you know, a plan, what it's gonna look like, maybe a couple of options, but we can work with Havoc on those details and then get those to you guys.
Can they
So-
come in since they're local? Can they
I'm-
come into our next meeting?
I'm sure if they're available, they wouldn't mind, I can ask,
I mean,
absolutely.
this might be nice to have them here in person.
Okay.
So at the time that you,
Idea of the size and how tall.
Taylor, at the time that you deliver the news to them that they have not been selected,
Yeah,
you will then introduce
this.
the possibility for them
Yep.
to, okay, and see what they want to do.
Yeah, and like I said, they very well may say, you know what, we appreciate it, this just isn't quite big enough for us at this time, and then we are back to the drawing board, but, I do think it is really a good opportunity to offer that to a
Yeah,
local
I agree.
group.
And I'm sure they would be able to, they could give us an idea of the size of something that's economical for multiple
Yeah.
ones to be
Yeah.
made or something, so I mean, I
Yeah.
know when we made signs, you know, we got a certain size, so you could get a certain number out of a sheet or something.
Yeah.
They could tell us, well, if we make the turtles 16 by 28, then, you know, we can make a lot or something.
Sure,
Or the price would be this versus,
yeah,
What is the budget for the turtles?
we don't have one right now.
and they can tell us what
So
it
this is all just preliminary discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would that be,
We can at least give them an idea of
Mhm.
what we're doing, and they can come up with their concept of what they think would be reproducible,
Well,
not
and
too
we
big of
have
a
a-
pole, not too.
Yeah, and we have a good idea because they did auction off. Now granted, these are sculptures at Sculpture Garden that were done by the students, so it's a little different. But I was very aware of and paid attention at that auction. So I'm aware of what pieces of that size went for, and I also have found other communities that have sculptures that are actual turtles, and I have no problem just picking the phone up and calling people and just asking like, hey, what was the, and so I can get a pretty good idea, kind of like we did with our murals. I mean, I just called around and asked people, and then
Right.
found a good happy medium, so I'll do that with these as well.
so would you have that budget before you talk to them, or?
No, I'll probably have the conversation, because I want to let all the parties know the decision as soon as possible, and then let her know if they're interested.
Yeah.
then we're gonna kind of work up some estimates and different sizing, and then I'll get back to you within, a week, 2 weeks, whatever.
So the conversation's gonna be that if they're interested, this one is not going out for an RFP.
Right.
This one.
Yeah, this is just a straight, we're just commissioning a
Are
piece.
you interested
Yeah.
as a local artist?
Correct.
Right, we want some design on height or the size. or
Materials,
it's laid
Yeah.
down, it's
size,
stand up.
everything, yeah.
Exactly.
Like a
Design.
wayline design, or is it a sculpture, you know? So
Okay.
I think they could give us an idea of what they think they could do at a reasonable.
So I guess just the motion would be, are all in favor, who's in favor of just moving forward to have the conversation?
Proceed with
Yeah.
the conversation.
Beck or Jenny
Okay.
Grant.
Yes.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Okay.
Unanimous vote to move forward with the
And
conversation.
I mean, and if they came up with the thing that the other guy had, a concept design agreement, I imagine that, you know, if we like what they propose, and, I mean, I can see we might do something like that. We may have to throw them a bone to try to get a final design, you know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can turn down.
Yeah.
At least they would give us some idea of what it's gonna cost and what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
But we would know that we were feeling comfortable with moving forward with them, whether that took a couple rounds of figuring out the
Yeah.
design or not. We're like,
Yeah,
we're
correct.
still
They
comfortable
would be able to invest in it, knowing that they might,
Not a completely
that they
let's
have
wing
a
it
project. It's
thing.
They
just
have a
what's it looks
project,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something that we could do?
Yeah.
Okay.
if they need that. If they-
Okay, yeah, they may need.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that way they can, we can give them some money, we can look at the final engineering or something versus just trying to get a concept.
Yeah.
When will you be reaching out to Xavier?
Probably this afternoon, or first thing tomorrow morning, so, soon.
Well, it'd be interesting to hear, I mean, I would imagine he's gonna be, you know, he's gonna be excited, maybe.
Yeah, and at that point, I'm sure he will then, like, put it on his calendar as a real deal, and we'll have more dates. I mean, he outlined
His timeline was really
month
good.
1 through month 7, and we can find out, hey, when is month 1
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't mind relaying that, how impressed we were with the package, it was
Absolutely.
very.
I was just a little confused when it had so many options. I'm like, we don't need a bunch of options, everything looks good. Like, do we have to decide on the options now?
No.
One thing I did notice is that his design fee for the artist was $22,500, everybody else was $25. Not that that makes a big difference, but
But it was interesting. Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah.
So the next discussion with him will be, he will come here and we'll have a discussion about,
Well, first we have to get through CRA
oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's not
And I
forget
think
the
that's-
process.
and council.
well, and they got
And
plenty.
contractors.
He has so much great stuff to show them, there should be no.
100%, and I will give the CRA credit and council credit, they have been very receptive and great about really entrusting this committee and taking both previous recommendations and letting you guys kind of,
As well they should.
yeah, take the reins. So we will present this to the CRA and then we will present it to council.
And to his point, to Trey's point, we If the CRA understands that this may not be the final agenda, we have so many options to choose from, that's one of the reasons that in the very end of his video, he talks about how he worked with us.
I don't think there's gonna be any bad choices.
So, yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
So if that's, we've passed two,
I believe we did unanimously.
two finals?
They didn't have to pick the options.
Give the man a gavel.
Yep. Is there, any business, any other business? If not, we will call for adjournment.
Cool.
Done.
I second that motion.
Nice work, Taylor.
I'm gonna go let your